She is a technology integrator, a leader in the fields that make our lives easier. And she's also a sustainability advocate in the strongest possible sense of the word. I'd like to introduce Ms. Veronica Breckenridge.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, I'm going to talk today about putting your money where your mouth is. So we're going to start with something interesting. I don't know if how many of you, it's almost 8 o'clock actually, are hungry. I am. So I'm going to ask all of you if you could pull out a credit card from your wallet. Okay. Come on. And I'm going to ask you if you're hungry, especially for the next 10 minutes of my presentation, eat that credit card. Okay, I'm kidding. But not really. Did you know an average person today will consume about or ingest about 5 grams of microplastic every month? And that's about the exact weight of that credit card that you're holding. That means you're eating 12 credit cards a year. And I think all of us have been around since the turn of the century, so we've all consumed about 303 credit cards. Why do I start there? Because this is a legitimate crisis with practical solutions. But yet, when it comes to our health and our planet, we have been sold on not so truthful problems with not so truthful answers. Because guess what? Those answers and solutions usually get someone else, make someone else a lot of money, or get someone else lots of votes. Recycling. And it's been once heralded as the ultimate environmental stewardship. But look at what Greenpeace says. Greenpeace, the organization, actually declared that recycling, mechanical recycling, to be exact, is actually structurally broken. Because it is very difficult to collect. It is almost impossible to clean, and the mixed mess usually ends up in a landfill or furnace. And the process of recycling actually creates more toxins to kill us. And it's actually way more expensive than using virgin plastics from oil. So billions have been poured into a broken system, and politicians have been elected on the promise of it. Corporations, or you and I actually, have to lead lives stipulated by regulations that tells us what to buy, tell us how to sort it, while the plastics in our bloodstreams continue to increase. Another example would be net zero. Beautiful example, but it's not a global reality. What's happening in EU and US setting goals, we're just greenwashing and kicking it down the road and moving it to China. I mean, China is a country that I was born, and where I worked at McKinsey for 5 years, I worked for Apple for 8 years. I was hired by Elon Musk to launch Tesla there. And also I got $200 million from a Chinese private equity to actually set up a venture shop. I know this country, and their economy, they're about a third of the world carbon footprint. And even in their goals, those emissions continue to increase, and with no sight of peak. And when you look at This is according to carbonbrief.org. China is adding 35 to 45 gigawatts of coal power every single coal capacity every single year. This is way faster than what they're retiring them. So when you think about fossil fuels is actually powering, still to this day, powering over 80% of the manufacturing global energy. It's not going to go away. It's not going to go away for 100 years. Unless a technology can take over and transform them. This is why we need a new blueprint. And actually, it's not even a new blueprint. It's an old blueprint. Chemistry actually didn't come from labs. Chemistry was in nature. As you know, some of you, we already talked about. It came from nature, and it's been there since the dawn of times. Silk, right? What we wear every day, where a lot of us are using polyester, is actually a mimic of what silk was. It's mimicking the molecular structure of silk. And just chemistry has made it cheaper and easier affordable for mass consumption. So the materials we're using, they aren't evil by definition. It's just the way that we're making it. It's outdated. And we need to find new ways to create materials in a way that doesn't kill us. And the good news is actually, we already know how to scale this technology. So some of you I know have actually gone and had wine already at that break. I'm sure you're planning to have a beer later on. That is industrial biomanufacturing, by the way. We've scaled this a long time ago. We know how to scale it. And biology today is actually cheaper and faster than ever before in human history. So we've been brewing complex chemicals, chemistry for thousands of years. Now we can do it cheaper and better than chemistry. And that's the blueprint that we could go from what we have today. When we make things from biology, we can make things locally. We don't have to fight wars for commodities. We don't have to wait in oil lines. And we can build factories because these are created with living organisms. So the manufacturing process is remarkably harmless and non-toxic. We can build, the plant, people who work in the plants, it doesn't harm them. It doesn't harm the people who live next door to those facilities. You can build a facility right next to a school. You can build one right here in Roatan. We can build a lot of them throughout Central America. And that's what biology could eventually do to really create the materials that we need locally, and we can resolve a lot of the human conflicts for resources. So that's why we really think that we need to shift the sort of the paradigm right now to have people think about, we need to stop funding those things, broken systems that doesn't work, that only gets politicians elected. What we need you to do, or every one of us, is we want a non-toxic future. We need to demand products to be made by bio-based chemicals. We need to demand corporations to move capital to invest in infrastructures that actually works. And in sort of, I guess, my last ask, if you will, If you want to stop eating those microplastics, I would say, well, we need to stop talking and start investing in industrial biomanufacturing. Put our money where our mouth is. Thank you very much.